Welcome back. You're watching Power Breakfast on cnbc TV 18. Moving on to another big story in what comes as a setback for online retail platforms like Flipkart and Amazon. The government has tightened the norms for e-commerce companies with foreign direct investment. The revised policy makes it tougher for such e-commerce platforms to offer heavy discounts or hold exclusivity on products. These players have also been barred from selling products of businesses in which they have a stake or control of inventory. Rituparna Bhuyan joins us on the phone line with the details. Ritu, take us through the fine print.
Well, firstly, a strict no to exclusive deals on FDI-funded e-commerce platforms. That is one. Secondly, level playing field norms have been expanded, which now say that a e-commerce platform will have to treat all sellers in their platform equally, which means equal access to logistics, warehousing, advertisement, marketing, payments, financing, and services like these. Also, cashback offered by group companies of these e-commerce portals have to be fair and non-discriminatory, meaning that such cashback should not put other sellers in the same platform at a disadvantage. Also, last but not the least, what these new norms say, that if a e-commerce entity owns equity in a company that sells products in its platform, then such arrangements will not be allowed from now forth, which means that if an e-commerce platform owns a seller, then such sellers will not be allowed to participate in that particular e-commerce platform.
Okay.
These norms kick in from 1st of Feb, and every 30th of September, these e-commerce platforms will have to report back to RBI on compliance of these new norms. With that, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Ritu, for that, for detailing all those revised guidelines. But as expected, the e-commerce players with FDI are not happy about the revised guidelines. Industry sources say that the new rules contradict the government's Make in India mission as well as its efforts to boost manufacturing. Now, they also claim that the government made this announcement without holding any consultations with the stakeholders. Industry players also say that the new rules will have a detrimental impact on the e-commerce sector in India. They add that the revised norms will impact access to marketplaces as well as the investors.
All right, and my colleague Ashmit Kumar also spoke to PwC's Akash Gupta, Ashwini Mahajan, co-convener of the Swadeshi Jagran Manch, and Praveen Khandelwal, the secretary of the CAIT. And here's what they had to say.
There are two kinds of clampdowns which have come in. One is in relation to the way group companies, if any of the marketplace entities, the restrictions being imposed on their trade on the marketplace. Even the traders who deal with such group companies have been put under some kind of restrictions. Fairly restrictive prescription here. If you look at historically in 2009, when the government came on the wholesale trading guidelines, even there the wholesale traders were allowed to deal with group companies up to 25% of their turnover. And the same principle was followed in the earlier Press Note 3, where up to 25% of the turnover could be maintained when you are dealing in an e-commerce platform. In the current amendment, there's that 25% window has completely been taken away. That means any group company of the e-commerce player cannot trade on that platform. So that's a significantly restricted step.
What is the message that you're taking away as a part of this tightening of norms by the government? Mr. Mahajan.
In fact, what the new policy is suggesting was actually there in Press Note 3 when they were not supposed to give any price distorting discounts. And this is just to make it more clear. This policy is making it more clear. And the fact that these companies were actually circumventing the law when it was very clearly written in the Press Note 3 that you cannot offer price distorting discounts. So in this case, when this press note is coming, this is now putting further restrictions on these people because they were circumventing the law by B2B route.
We've already received a comment from the CAIT. They've welcomed it. Mr. Khandelwal, your thoughts?
Yes, it is a welcome move. And the clarificatory note which has been issued by the government today clearly spells out the policy of the government that exclusivity, preferential treatment, predatory pricing, deep discounting, and loss funding will not be allowed any further. And we all know that these companies, whether it is a multinational company in hand in glove with marketplace models, they were adopting all these kinds of policies to kill the retailers, and their ultimate goal was to control and dominate the retail trade of the country. Well, at this point of time, the government has taken a call which was long awaited.
Given that we are around the curve as far as the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, can I dare ask perhaps that is this a move towards assuaging the sentiments of small traders at the expense of the big FDI players? Is that a charge? Is that a question that perhaps can be raised when we're just around the curve as far as the Lok Sabha elections are concerned? Mr. Khandelwal.
We should not link it with the Lok Sabha elections, but yes, if the note is properly implemented in its letter and spirit, it will certainly give leverage to small retailers to come online trade and to adopt it in a very transparent manner. So therefore, there will be a level playing field.
Moving on then, the angel tax issue that has been plaguing startups continues to simmer. There was some cheer earlier this week with the Central Board of Direct Taxes, or the CBDT, instructing all its assessing officers not to take any coercive measures to recover the outstanding tax demands or penalties till further notice. But now we learn from sources that CBDT continues to be concerned about the abnormal valuations of such companies. CNBC TV 18's Timsi Jaipuria has more details.
Well, let me put some background to this first. CBDT on December 24 had issued a circular clarifying that its officers should not go in for any coercive measures against any outstanding dues against startups till further orders. Now, this circular was very clear that no assessing officer would harass startups as of now. However, despite having said that, sources shared that CBDT has concerns regarding the valuations of startups. And not just this, CBDT feels that in some cases, black money has become the source of the seed capital for some of these startups as well. Thus, to avoid any confusion and treat all startups at par with the policy that was announced under the Startup India program, CBDT is in consultations with DIPP, asking them to certify startups and look at the valuations closely to avoid any wrong action against these startups. Thus, they want DIPP to hasten the pace of certification as of now. So now when we see the situation, we see that CBDT on its own is trying to avoid any wrongdoing, any wrong action against startups. But yes, they want DIPP to hasten the process, hasten the pace of certifications to avoid any confusion for startups. Let's see how soon DIPP gets into certification process and what is the best that CBDT can do in this. Back to you.
Timsi, thank you so much for that. We'll step into yet another break, but come back and we talk about Sun Pharma. The arm gets relief from a US court in patent infringement case. More on that when we return.